Okay, how is this not getting talked about more? Scientists at UCLA have basically claimed to have cured baldness. And they've been working on this lab-made molecule called P.4, which they've just finished getting the results back after the first week of testing on patients. And the results are actually insane.
Today we're looking at glitch in the matrix TikToks that will make you rethink your reality. Welcome back, guys. Thank you to all the channel members for support. I've seen that you guys like part 1, 2, and 3. Those are actually my fastest growing videos right now. So here is part 4. Let's try again to get another 2,000 likes this video. If you guys haven't subscribed, make sure to smash that subscribe button. We're going to be taking a look at some crazy videos coming up in the future, and I would not want you to miss it. So why wouldn't you subscribe? Let's go.
Random crazy facts you probably didn't know. Part 1. Let's get into it. A pair of balls can be ripped open as easily as a bag of chips. Crazy. Due to humans' artificial selection and breeding dogs are evolving eyebrows. Insane. A sloth's claws aren't actually their claws. They're just their bones bulging out of their body. Insane. If you were going insane, you probably would never know. A blue whale's veins are so big that you could swim in it. That's how big their veins are. Insane. If you were to get skinned alive, you would pass from hypothermia, not blood loss. Insane. A box jellyfish has multiple eyes, no brain, but yet the eyes can see an image. Crazy. Crows are so petty that they will remember your face and hold a grudge against you if you ever do them wrong. And they will mess with you. Yeah. One of the most common places to find an unalive body is on the toilet. Insane. Come back for part 2, because it gets more insane.
I had a glitch in the matrix story, so just listen while I pack eggs, because it's insane, and it happened today. So I bought a house in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around me. This is relevant. So I leave today to run to the grocery store real fast to get something for dinner, and I pull out of my driveway. I go to the end of the road, and when I get up to the end of the road, the car that turns the corner to come down my road passing me is my old self in my old car. It's me. What is that? So when this happens, I have this flash of a memory of me getting lost out here when I was younger. I didn't know where I was, and at the time, cell phones didn't have GPS on them. I never had GPS in a car. And I was lost out here. And I drove down this road. Like, what? And this is the middle of the day. I'm not tired. This wasn't a hallucination or like some strong memory that happened. And I was just like, it became real. No, this happened. It was a glitch that it's just so insane. I don't know what that was about. It freaked me out. I saw myself. It was me in my old car. And it was me in my old car before I hit a deer in it eventually, because then I got a car after that. So like, what was that? So does that mean it makes it true that all of our worlds are happening at the same time? Like, what does that mean? I'm so confused. I'm packing eggs. I have people coming to get eggs from me, and I'm just contemplating of what happened. It's absolutely insane. Like, I've been off for a few days. I've gotten good sleep. It has nothing to do with anything like that. This happened, and it's absolutely crazy. So I don't know if you guys had similar things happen to you, but this is absolutely crazy.
At 5:50 a.m., the driver starts his commute to work in a Tesla Model 3, equipped with full self-driving. At 6:16 a.m., he enables autopilot on US 441 highway, cruising at 68 miles per hour. A standard Tesla alert appears. But this type highway with cross traffic is reportedly not designed for autopilot. Seconds later, a semi-truck rolls through a stop sign, crossing into the highway. The truck driver fails to see the Tesla. The brakes were not applied as the autopilot system failed to detect the semi. At full speed, the Tesla crashes, sliding under the side of the trailer. The roof is ripped off instantly. The fatality is immediate. But the Tesla kept going for 40 additional seconds, traveling over 1,680 feet before coming to a stop.
Okay, how is this not getting talked about more? Scientists at UCLA have basically claimed to have cured baldness. And they've been working on this lab-made molecule called P.4, which they've just finished getting the results back after the first week of testing on patients. And the results are actually insane. After they applied this topical cream for 1 week to their patients, they found a 70% activity increase in dormant hair follicles, as well as a 300% increase in stem cell activity. These scientists found a protein in your hair follicles which causes them to go to sleep and stay asleep as you get older, and P.4 basically wakes those hair follicles back up. But the most important thing is that they found no major side effects in any of their trials, which is where a lot of big companies previously have gotten to the stage and failed. And the research is so legit that even Google wanted to be a part of it and invested millions of dollars in this business last year. Now, the next phase of this company is to publish their 60-day findings. They think the real results are going to come from 6 to 12 months. And if all goes well, they expect to get FDA approval to put this on the shelves by 2030.
Yo, that's actually really big news. For anyone that has male pattern baldness, hey, in 5 years, you could potentially reverse it.
Doppelgangers. The NPC cloning bug. Imagine walking down the street and seeing yourself. Not a look-alike, not a twin. You. Same face, same outfit, same movements. At first, your brain scrambles for a logical explanation. A coincidence? A weird reflection? But then, it looks at you, and you realize it knows. Throughout history, people have reported seeing their own double, and it's almost never a good thing. One of the most famous cases was Abraham Lincoln. A few days before his assassination, he reportedly saw his own reflection in a mirror, except there were two of him. One looked normal, the other was ghostly pale. His wife, naturally, did the reasonable thing and decided this meant he was going to die. And then, well, we all know how that turned out. Now, maybe Lincoln was tired. Maybe his brain just filled in an extra image. Or maybe it's just a glitch in the system. Maybe reality accidentally rendered two copies of you for a moment. Maybe you just got a glimpse of yourself from another timeline. Or maybe something else is trying to take your place. Either way, if you ever see someone who looks exactly like you, walk the other way. Fast. Sleep paralysis. The forced cutscene. You can't skip. It happens in the middle of the night. Your eyes snap open. You can see your room, your ceiling, the faint glow of the streetlight outside. Everything is normal, except you can't move. Not a single muscle. Your arms, your legs, completely locked. You try to call for help, but your voice won't come out. And then, you feel it. A presence. Standing at the edge of your bed. This is sleep paralysis, and if you haven't experienced it yet, congratulations. You've avoided one of the worst free trial experiences that the human body has to offer. People describe it as being trapped inside your own body. Science calls it a simple sleep cycle disruption. During REM sleep, the body is in a state of muscle atonia to prevent acting out dreams. And if you break this sleep, your brain wakes up, but your muscles are still paralyzed. It's supposed to last a few seconds, maybe a minute at most, but to the people experiencing it, it can feel like a lifetime. And here's where it gets weird. Because for some reason, sleep paralysis doesn't just come with paralysis. It comes with company. People across different cultures, across history, across completely separate parts of the world, all describe seeing the exact same thing. A dark silhouette, watching them. If this is just a random brain glitch, why are millions of people hallucinating the exact same thing? There are two possible answers. 1. The human brain is hardwired to hallucinate terrifying figures when it's in this state. A cruel little evolutionary prank designed to make an already terrible experience even worse. Or 2. These things are always there, and sleep paralysis is just the one time you are actually able to see them. Spontaneous human combustion, the self-destruct glitch. Imagine you're sitting in your living room reading a book, sipping some tea, nothing out of the ordinary. Then without warning, you burst into flames. Not like you knocked over a candle flames. Not like your clothes caught fire flames. No, you ignite from the inside out. And by the time someone finds you, there's nothing left but a pile of ash. And maybe a pair of legs that somehow survived. This is spontaneous human combustion, one of the strangest, most unsettling phenomena ever recorded. Science has a lot of answers, but on this one, they're beat. Some half-assed explanations include the wick effect, where body fat acts like candle wax, slowly burning the person over time. But if that's the case, why does it sometimes stop halfway? Take Margaret Hogan, for example, an unusually hot 89-year-old widow from Dublin. On March the 28th, 1970, she was found burned almost to nothing in her home. The plastic flowers on the table had melted into sludge, and the television screen 12 feet away was warped beyond recognition. And yet, her feet and both legs below the knees were untouched. An inquest was held. The official cause of death? Burning. The cause of the fire? Unknown. Which means either 1. The human body has a hidden self-destruct button. 2. Some people accidentally trigger an irreversible system error. 3. Reality occasionally just alta 4 people in the most dramatic way possible. Whichever one it is, the conclusion is the same. If one day you start feeling a little too warm, and you're nowhere near an open flame, you might have about 3 seconds to figure out why. Quantum immortality. The real-life respawn glitch. You should be dead. That car missed you by inches. Lucky? Maybe. Or maybe you just don't die. Quantum immortality is the idea that every time you die, your consciousness jumps. Not to heaven, not to hell, but to the nearest reality where you survived. From your perspective, you never die. You just keep waking up in timelines where you barely made it. Take Frain Selak, a man who should have died multiple times. In 1954, his train derailed into an icy river. 17 people drowned. He didn't. The next year, he was sucked out of a plane mid-flight and landed in a haystack. Then a bus crash, multiple car crashes, a car explosion, and finally he won the lottery. From his perspective, he never died, and that's the terrifying part. If quantum immortality is real, then you will never experience your own death. The versions of you that died, you don't remember them, because they're gone. But what happens when there's no timeline left where you survive? Is there a final game over? Or does reality just keep you going? And if that's the case, how long have you actually been alive?
You might want to go grab some tape your jaw shut, because odds of your jaw being on the floor when you hear this story are high. But I'm happy to say it's the best ending to the worst story. Guys, this is the very first story I ever told on TikTok, and back then I pronounced her name wrong. I said Alison Botha, but I think it's Alison Botha. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm probably so wrong, but I just went to her TikTok profile to make sure I pronounced it correctly. She follows me. Allison, yeah, I'm never gonna get over that. Allison, message me, I need to talk. Nevertheless, this is the story of Alison Botha, one of the most insane stories I've ever heard to this day. Also, just want to say, in case Alison sees this, Alison, you were literally the biggest inspiration to so many people, and I look up to you so much, but let's get into it. The 2 perpetrators that Alison had the misfortune of meeting were France and Tiens. A little bit of background on both. France was the son to a policeman. Childhood, fine. When he was a teenager, not fine. He made friends with the wrong crowd, was an absolute menace, got expelled from school, causing him and his family to move to what was back then known as Port Elizabeth in South Africa. One of France's biggest and favorite hobbies became worshipping the devil. Yes, he got a girlfriend who claimed to be the head witch of a coven, and together they spent a lot of time doing rituals and manifesting demons. And I know Satanism doesn't always mean worshipping the devil, but in this case it does. France soon dropped out of school and started claiming that he was possessed by the devil. And then he went into the army. How scary is that? A man that is claiming to be possessed by the devil being in charge and around so many weapons. He left the army, got married, had a baby, abandoned his family, got married again, had another baby, and throughout it all he was still getting in trouble with the law, committing petty crimes, and continuing to claim that he had supernatural powers from Satan himself. At 26 years old, France meets 19-year-old Tiens. Tiens had a rough upbringing. He was not born into the greatest family, unfortunately. At 15 years old, he dropped out of school, turned to substances to cope, got involved in petty crime, and then eventually also joined the army. That was one of the things that him and France had in common, but Tiens also dated a witch girlfriend, and the two of them worshipped the devil together as well. France and Tiens met in June of 1994, and they would become a volatile pairing. France told his new friend Tiens that he possessed the power of the devil, and I think that Tiens started to look up to France a little bit. The two of them would go on to do horrible, disgusting things. They frequently visited graveyards in the middle of the night doing weird things, and then they would go on an SA spree. They would go out looking for women to attack and SA simply because they wanted to, and because France specifically thought that he deserved to, because he thought he was so attractive that women loved him, and he thought that he deserved to get whatever he wanted to get from them. Sick, sick, sick. On December 4th of 1994, France and Tiens essayed a victim together, a 21-year-old woman that was 3 months pregnant. After the attack, the woman went straight to the police station and reported it. France and Tiens got arrested, but released pending a further court appearance, and it was before that pending court appearance that Alison would be taken as their victim and put through things no human being should ever be put through, let alone survive. Alison surviving the things that she was put through was unheard of. To me, there's no other way to describe it other than a miracle, truly. Alison Botha grew up a very happy and loved girl. Her mother raised her in a beautiful way, and she was really raised to be such an incredible person with nothing but love to give. At the time of this case, Alison was 27 years old, and she was thriving, living her best life. She had graduated completed school, spent a few years traveling around, and had chosen to settle down in what was known back then as Port Elizabeth in South Africa. December 18th of 1994, it was a Sunday. After a fun night out with her friends, Allison came home after dropping off one of her friends at her apartment. She pulled into her parking lot, pulls in, parks her car, turns her car off, and all of a sudden someone swings open her driver's side door, and Allison is caught so off guard when she sees a man standing right outside her door with a sharp weapon. That man was 26-year-old France. He looked at her and said, quote, "Move over or I will kill you," end quote. At first, France keeps telling Allison that he's not gonna hurt her. He says that he just needs her car for something. Big fat lie. France asks Allison what her name is. She quicks quick on her feet and tells him a fake name. Allison asks France what his name is, and he also gives a fake name. And Allison is trying to keep her calm, incredibly good under the worst kind of pressure, but she is pleading for him to let her out of the car. She says, "Just let me out, you can keep the car." But France, of course, has bad intentions. He tells her that he just needs to go and find his friend, so they drive to go find this friend. The friend, who is none other than 19-year-old Tiens. Tiens gets in the back of the car, and his eyes look scary. They're just black. They just look evil, and I imagine Allison's stomach turned at just the sight of him. This was late at night, by the way. It was dark outside, and France drove the three of them until there was no other cars around, and he pulled into a secluded area. Tiens gets out of the car, leaving France and Allison alone, and France turns to her and says, "Are you going to fight?" And then he continues to SA her aggressively. Allison, in that moment, remembers trying to keep her dignity, aware of what was going on, but she kept thinking to herself, "He is doing this to your body, not to you. Your mind is safe. He can't touch your mind. You will get through this." She just kept repeating that to herself over and over again, trying to disassociate from what was going on, from the terrible situation that she was in. After France was done, he looked at Tiens outside of the car and asked him if he wanted to SA Allison, talking about her in the most degrading manner, and Tiens says yes, and he goes in the car and he takes his turn in SAing her. After that, the two of them stand there and discuss if they should let Allison go or if they should kill her. And remember, the two of them are pending a court appearance for the SA case they just committed 14 days ago, so the two of them in their little pea-sized brains, they're like, no, we shouldn't let her go, because if we let her go and she goes to the police, we will get in more trouble. So the two of them think that they have no other choice but to murder her. They're having this discussion right in front of Allison, and because their brains are so small, they're talking amongst themselves. They're using their real names, France and Tiens, and Allison takes note of that, which is very important. Before she knew it, Allison was outside of the car on the ground. France was on top of her, attacking her with both of his hands around her neck, using as much force as he could, to the point where he crushed her windpipe, cutting off her air supply completely, causing Allison to zone out. Then France grabbed the sharp weapon, took it to Allison's stomach over and over again, like a frenzy attack 35 times, and him and Tiens thought that that would be it. But then they realized that Allison was still alive, so they took the sharp weapon across her neck 16 times. And remember, France had crushed Allison's windpipe with his hands, and unknowingly so, when he took the sharp weapon, he cut through the windpipe, giving her air supply again. So basically, he did the opposite of what he was trying to do. Allison regains consciousness. She comes back to it when she hears France and Tiens again talking amongst themselves about whether or not they think she's still alive. When she hears this, she stays as still as she possibly can to make them think that she isn't. And it works. They leave her there, deciding that there was no possible way that she could have survived that attack. They throw her clothes that were inside of the car out of the car, and they drive off in her car. Allison is left there, lying on the ground in the dark in the middle of nowhere, attempting to assess the situation, trying to figure out what to do next, and I don't even know how. She had at least 50 injuries. I don't even know how your mind can come up with a clear thought, but she's trying to think when she hears a gurgling sound. She's confused for a second until she realizes that that sound is coming from her throat. The sound was her windpipe. They're just going in and out through it because she can't control it. She goes to feel her neck with her hand, but she feels nothing. Because her injuries are so severe, there's just a massive gaping hole, and she feels nothing but blood. Allison laid on that floor, and she thought, I'm not gonna let them get away with this. I'm not gonna let them do this to another person. She thought that at the very least, she would do what she could to hope and try and help her attackers get caught, which is when she took the little strength that she had left and wrote their names on the sand, France and Tiens. Right after that, she wrote on the sand what she wanted people to know that she was thinking about before she passed. She took her hand and she wrote, I love mom. And then Allison continued to lay there thinking that this was the end, but it wasn't. And Allison has said, quote, I realized my life was too valuable to let go of, and that gave me the courage to survive, end quote. That gives me chills every time. Also, now is a good time for me to tell you, if you have a queasy stomach, You should probably go. Allison started to move, thinking, I may as well give it my all. I'm not going to go down without a fight. When she started to get up on her feet, she was on her hands and knees when she felt something wet and something slimy on her feet. It was her intestines. Franz and Tien's had injured her abdomen so bad that her intestines were falling out of her body. She struggled trying to gather them back together, putting them back inside of her. When she noticed that her shirt had been thrown out of the car, she grabbed the shirt and used that to pack her intestines inside of her and pulled it as close as she could against her to try and keep them in. And Allison tried to stand back up again, but then her vision went black. She couldn't see anything, so she's holding her intestines in with one hand. And with the other, she reaches up to her eyes to see what's going on, but she feels nothing. There's nothing there. Because of the injuries to her neck and her throat, her head was hanging off backwards. She couldn't see because her head was halfway detached off her body. So with her only free hand, she reaches up to her head behind her body, pulls her head forward, kind of back in place, helping her vision return temporarily. She's literally holding her body together with both of her hands. I have no clue the strength it must have taken is hard for me to comprehend. Allison managed to drag herself onto the road, the full moon lighting her path, hoping that somebody would stop and rescue her. When she got to the road, she collapsed. She saw headlights. One car drove towards her, but straight past her, but the second car stopped, thankfully. In that car was a man called Tien, not to be confused with the perpetrator Tien's. Other people were in the car as well, but he was a vet, so he had some sort of medical knowledge, and he was an absolute hero that night. As soon as he saw Allison's injuries, he ripped off his shirt and used it to apply pressure on Allison's injuries. He had also noticed that Allison's thyroid was out of her neck, and he had some knowledge in medicine, obviously, so he knew how to place the thyroid back in place somehow, while one of his other friends called 911. The ambulance took so long to get there. 2 hours, 2 whole hours. What do you mean? But the entire time Tien was trying to do everything that he could to keep Allison with him. He came up with a system for her to squeeze his hand in response to him because she couldn't speak, obviously. And he kept telling her over and over again, you have the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. Please keep them open. Please keep them open. After 2 hours, the ambulance arrived, rushed Allison to the hospital, and the entire time Tien refused to leave her side. Allison was immediately taken into surgery. The wound to her neck was so severe the doctors could see the top of her spine. Those doctors had to put in so much work to save her life, but luckily the doctor that was on call that night was a throat specialist. Like, what are the odds of that? I don't know, but the odds were in Allison's favor. Doctors have said if Tien didn't put her thyroid back in place or whatever he did, then Allison would not have made it. It was also found that the injuries to her stomach somehow missed every vital organ, and the injuries to her neck and throat missed every major artery. If that was not the case, then Allison would not have made it to see another day. Absolutely insane. But after hours of surgery, Allison survived and she went into ICU for recovery. She couldn't talk after the surgery, obviously, so when talking to authorities, she just wrote down on a piece of paper her attackers' names. But get this, police said, that's not good enough. We need you to say their names out loud. What? So the tube that Allison was literally using to breathe was taken out long enough so that Allison could say out loud, my attackers were Franz and Tien's. And only after that did police go and immediately arrest them. And when they were arrested, officers told them that they were wanted for SA and attempted murder. And they were so confused about the attempted murder because they thought that there was absolutely no chance that Allison had survived that, but against all odds, she had. They were both charged with 8 charges. They pled guilty and were sentenced to life in prison in August of 1995 with no parole. Oh, and by the way, in trial, Franz tried to blame his actions on the fact that he was possessed by Satan. So there's that. Allison was discharged from the hospital on New Year's Eve. She moved back in with her mom who helped take care of her. But she still had so much recovery to do, not only physically, but also emotionally. But Allison knew that she wanted to use her story to help others. So she started traveling around the world, telling her stories in at least 35 countries, helping inspire other survivors to come forward and tell their stories as well. Since then, she has written 2 books, and Allison has said, quote, the attack has put me on this path where I get to travel the world and help inspire other people, end quote. Allison met and married a man, and I think they are now separated, but doctors had told her that because of her injury, she would not be able to have her own child, but I'm so happy to say that she was. Allison fell pregnant and she was able to carry her child full term, and Tien, our lovely hero Tien, became a doctor after that incident, and he was one of the doctors who helped birth Allison's second child. How cute is that? Oh, and one more thing that's gonna make you guys mad for a second. In July of 2023, after only serving 28 years, Franz and Tien's were granted parole and placed under supervision compilation. When that happened, Allison posted on her Facebook page, she said, quote, "The day I hoped and prayed would never come. And I was asked, how will you feel if they ever get parole? My immediate answer was always, I'm hoping I'll never find out," end quote. Absurd. The people that did that are allowed to just be free and walk free? What do you mean? Because actually, what do you mean? But I'm so happy to say that this year in 2025, the decision to grant them parole was taken back. So both of them were sent back to jail, thankfully, and they will remain in custody, which makes me so incredibly glad for Allison. Like, thank God. And I want to end this video with a quote from Allison. It reads, quote, "Remind yourself that you do not have to take responsibility for what others do. Life is not a collection of what happens to you, but of how you've responded to what has happened to you," end quote. I've known this story for a long time, and every single time that I talk about it or read about it or hear about it, it makes me want to cry. Again, Allison, on the off chance that you're seeing this, I'm gonna message you right now. I would feel incredibly grateful to have the chance to talk to you, and I hope that I told your story the way that you would want to have it told. But yeah, that's it from me today. Thank you for spending time with me today and for listening to Allison's insane, inspiring story. I hope you guys are having the best day. If not, go do something to make it the best day. Make somebody happy, and I will see you in my next video. Massive kiss on the forehead to every single one of you.
Dude, when I originally saw that video, I didn't even see the full video. I saw like, I would say 30 seconds, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it with you. So then that's honestly one of the craziest stories I've probably ever heard in like the last 5 years. Like, that is actually ridiculous. The fact that she even had the strength to like get up and actually the willpower to survive is beyond me. I feel like, if anything, that's a real glitch in the matrix. Like, everything was so like perfect for her to survive that encounter that it was just like, how? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, she's probably making good money. She's exploring the world. She's getting to do things she wanted to do. So, you know what I'm saying, God probably has a bigger plan for her. So good for her.
In ancient
Visual snow. Static is now part of the scene. Imagine being born with static in your vision, a constant overlay of pixelated, flickering dots, like an old CRT television stuck between channels. That's visual snow, and it's not your eyes, it's your brain. Or more specifically, your visual processor introducing digital noise into the feed. Think of it like a corrupted display buffer. The source material, reality, is clean, but the rendered output is distorted. People with visual snow don't just see the world, they see the static layered over it. Always. Bright room or dark room. Eyes open or eyes closed. It's a glitch that never blinks. And the wild part, most people don't realize it's abnormal. They think it's just how sight works. Which means some of us may be walking around with bugs in our perception pipeline and never even know it. If your eyes are the camera, but your brain is the video editor, what happens when the editor adds noise without telling you it's there? The scary truth, you just trust your feed, even when it's corrupted.
It is now becoming a trend to mass unfollow popular influencer James Charles after what he recently just did. I'm not gonna lie, if you haven't came across this mass unfollow James Charles trend that is currently taking place on his TikTok page, let's just say he is literally losing millions of followers by the day, if not the hour. And within the span of like 10 minutes, James Charles has already lost another 100,000 followers by the time of recording this video. Let's just say this trend is definitely working. And by the time you end up seeing this video, he could have already lost millions of more. Even people in the comments had something actually crazy to say about this whole James unfollowing, mass unfollowing trend. Real ones never followed him. People have been trying to tell James Charles he's a bad person since 2020. James Charles mass unfollowing. To be completely honest, James Charles definitely deserves this mass unfollowing trend right now. If you haven't heard about this whole situation and drama he is currently in with Kayla and the reasoning behind it. So like I said, this is the reason why James Charles is happening this mass unfollowing trend. And by the time you see this video, he could have already lost millions of more. And I'm curious to know your thoughts about this whole situation.
This is huge. The world's first psychic competition and educational conference is coming to Charlottesville, Virginia this August. Literally, you will have the chance to work with world-renowned experts in the field of consciousness and psychic abilities, to workshop your own abilities, to learn about your own potential, and to just like, there will be games. Imagine us just like watching people compete where they're doing literal psychic stuff. Not to mention, this is like right around the corner from the Monroe Institute, and you guys know I love the Monroe Institute. If you're not familiar, go check out my page. I talk about it. If not, just Google it. This is gonna be like opportunity of a lifetime, open to the public. Kids are welcome. There will be stuff specifically for kids. And if you have kids under the age of 14, they get in for free and your ticket is 30% off. I'm gonna be there, my family's gonna be there, my dad is gonna be lecturing, and my brother Ryan is going to be a judge of the competition. I have something special for my followers. I have a discount code, 20% off your ticket. Tickets are selling out fast. So if you wanna go, use this discount. I don't get commission. I'm just helping the Psy Games because I love the people involved and I think it's going to be really amazing. I super believe in this. Claim your spot before they run out. Bring some friends. If you're planning on going, let me know in the comments. And if you're there and you happen to see me, I would love for you to come say hey. So come hang out with us at the Psy Games.
Sir, hold on. You see this? To get the f out of my face right now. Have an issue here, guys?
He won't show me his identification.
Is there a problem, sir?
No problem. I promise you, everything's fine. I need you both to go away, please.
No, you can't tell us to go away. I'm asking you to see your ID, please.
I know the law. You do not have to see my ID once I'm seated. The two places you can check it are TSA and when I'm providing my boarding pass. I'm already seated. You can please leave.
You're definitely not going to threaten me, sir. Why is it?
Have it?
I physically cannot.
You don't have it on your person?
You don't need to see it right now.
Yes, I do.
I'm at several places throughout this scenario.
Leave.
Sir.
I'm in the middle of something. This is a 3-year case. If you don't leave right now, you're gonna just go. I'm gonna sit right down and you're gonna leave me alone. You got that?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Guys, did we just witness the glitch in the Matrix? Okay, I'm gonna show you. See if you can explain it, because we can't figure it out. And I would have stitched with this guy's video that my husband saw on TikTok, but it's grayed out and I can't. So we're gonna try to recreate it. But when he was doing it, he had a really long mirror in his bathroom. So there were more angles to look from the side. Anyways, here you go. Okay, so the deal is when he covers up his reflection, we shouldn't be able to see it, right? Or be able to see him, right? But depending on the angle, I'm behind the towel. How can we still see him? The towel's covering him.
I think I know.
Yeah, I can see you. Right there. How is that if the towel is covering your face? Okay.
Dude, every time I see stuff like that, I be thinking that's probably how people or whatever aliens or whatever the heck in the fourth dimension probably see us. We probably try to, like, you know what I'm saying? They probably could see through stuff like that. I made a comment in one of my past videos, like, how is that even possible? And I don't know, like, multiple people in my comments just started roasting me. They're like, dude, have you not been to school? Like, you should have stayed in school longer. I was just like, my bad for asking.
It appears that this woman just vanishes into thin air during a routine traffic stop, and the police dash cam along with body cam catch it on camera.
This is my first time being pulled over.
All right. Can I see your driver's license registration, please?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Here's my license, but this is my mom's car, so.
Where are you headed to where you're speeding and missing stop signs?
I was just headed to a friend's house. It's like literally right there. It's
okay.
A birthday party. So,
got it.
Not mine, but.
Any drugs or alcohol in the vehicle?
No, of course not.
All right. Sit tight, sir. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Your registration is What the?
Sarah?
What the heck?
Sarah?
Here's the dash cam angle.
Right there. It's
okay.
A birthday party. So,
got it.
Not mine, but.
Any drugs or alcohol in the vehicle?
No, of course not.
All right. Sit tight, sir. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Your registration is What the?
Sarah?
If you were traveling on I-26 westbound last night, coming out of Columbia, South Carolina, say around 8, 9 o'clock p.m., what kind of glitch in the Matrix did we drive through last night? I saw some very questionable things on the interstate last night. So much so that I was this close to making a U-turn through those, or attempting to make a U-turn through those cables in the median on the interstate. I was really scared. I am not going to really dive deep into what I saw last night because I want somebody who also saw what I saw to jump in the comments or jump in my DMs, because I need my husband and my best friend to know that I'm not crazy. Listen, I was by myself last night. I was on my way home from Tampa, and I was not delirious. I'd had adequate sleep. I just downed a freaking Starbucks coffee, so I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, okay? I know what I saw, and I need somebody else to also confirm what I saw. So drop it in the comments, drop it in the DMs. Hopefully there's a part 2 coming soon.
Brown eyes. Brown eyes are brown because they contain a high concentration of melanin, the pigment responsible for coloring your skin, your hair, and yes, your eyes. In the iris, melanin acts like a shield. It absorbs light rather than scattering it. So while blue or green eyes reflect light in a way that creates a visible hue, brown eyes pull light inward. This is why brown eyes seem deeper, darker, and more grounded. From an evolutionary perspective, brown was humanity's starting point. The earliest humans had brown eyes because they evolved near the equator under harsh, bright sunlight. Melanin wasn't just pigment, it was protection. Brown eyes were nature's built-in sunglasses, filtering out UV rays and reducing glare long before Ray-Bans existed. That's why, even today, over 70% of the global population has brown eyes. It's not just a color, it's a legacy. Culturally, brown eyes have been linked to warmth, reliability, and stability. But they've also been described as mysterious, serious, even intimidating. Why? Because brown eyes are hard to read. They don't change with the light. They don't flash with emotion the way lighter eyes sometimes do. They absorb rather than reveal. But under certain lighting, low sun, candlelight, late afternoon haze, something strange happens. Brown eyes start to glow. Not bright blue, not green, but amber, honey, liquid gold. It's the melanin again, scattering light just enough to reveal what's been hiding underneath. Like an old texture map with a secret layer only visible in specific conditions. In those moments, they feel ancient. Like they're not just seeing you, they're remembering you. Blue eyes. Blue eyes aren't actually blue. Not in the way you think. There's no blue pigment inside the iris. What you're seeing is the light scattering through layers of tissue, a phenomenon called Rayleigh scattering. Yes, the same reason the sky looks blue and sunsets bleed orange. The iris, the colored part of the eye, is made up of fibrous layers. These layers contain almost no melanin in blue eyes. Melanin is the pigment that makes eyes brown, black, or hazel. When light enters the eye, shorter blue wavelengths are scattered in all directions. Longer wavelengths like red and yellow pass through or get absorbed. This scattered blue light bounces back through your pupil and out into the world, tricking everyone, including you, into believing your eyes are actually blue. But they're not. They're transparent. What you're seeing is the color of light's confusion. Every blue-eyed person on Earth, roughly 8% of the population, traces their eye color back to a single genetic mutation that occurred 6,000 to 10,000 years ago. Somewhere near the Black Sea, in one human, a tiny change occurred in a gene called OCA2, a gene responsible for melanin production. But instead of breaking the code completely, it just dimmed the switch. It limited how much melanin was produced in the iris, and suddenly, the eye didn't absorb light anymore. It scattered it. That one mutation spread from person to person, generation to generation, until millions now carry the glitch. Green eyes. Once you see them, they never leave your memory. Only about 2% of the world's population has green eyes. That's rarer than red hair, rarer than being born with 12 fingers. Why? Because green eyes are a chemical contradiction. They exist on the edge of a pigment glitch, a perfect storm between biology and light. To get green eyes, the body has to balance just the right amount of two things: melanin, the brown-black pigment responsible for dark eyes and skin; lipochrome, a yellowish pigment found in the iris. Most people have too much melanin, and their eyes come out brown. Some people have almost none, so light scatters off their irises, and their eyes appear blue. But green eyes? They need just enough melanin to darken the iris, and just enough lipochrome to tint the light that bounces off it. Then you add the final ingredient, Rayleigh scattering, the same thing that makes the sky blue. Light enters the eye, hits the iris structure, and reflects back, but now it's been bent, and the result is green, a rendered illusion so delicate that the smallest tweak in pigment breaks the effect entirely. Green eyes don't sit still. They shift in different lights: gold, jade, moss, steel. They look calm in the shade, then snap with energy in sunlight, like they've got a secret loaded behind the iris, waiting to be triggered. Green eyes aren't just rare, they're unstable beauty, an optical accident that stays.
So do y'all remember that lady that was like, that guy in the back is not real on the plane? So I just recently went down that rabbit hole, and apparently she went missing for like a period of time. And when she popped back up, Reddit users made this whole discovery, and it went viral because her pictures did not look the same at all whatsoever from before she was missing and after she was missing. And it low-key made me think of the movie They Cloned Tyrone, because it can't be a coincidence that this goes viral, right? She says a dude in the back is not real. She comes back, and now all of a sudden she looks different. And I think she's like right wing or something. Like, people hate her for some conservative thing that she's doing. It seems like it's fitting together too well. And if I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on real quick, let's just say TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only, none of it's true. Anyway, yeah, let's just say she was cloned, okay? I know I sound crazy, but let's just say like something happened to her and she came back. Of course, everybody hates conservatives right now. Everyone's like, oh, right wing is this, right wing is that. What if they made sure that the person or thing that came back that's impersonating her made sure to be hated, so that people would discredit what she was saying? Y'all, like, the more I learn about what's going on behind the scenes, the more I question everything. Because you can't tell me, like, all of a sudden she has these strong opinions on the conservative side when literally all of America is, like, against conservatives right now. Y'all already know what happens to people that go viral and see things that aren't supposed to be seen, aka Andrew Dawson. And look where he's at right now. No longer with us, yeah. And then, crazy enough, this is the creepiest part, apparently someone hacked like the IP address of where her last photo was taken when the whole conspiracy theory was going, and it showed up as right next to the White House. Why would she be right next to the White House? And y'all know the people that be doing the things behind the scenes, they're in the White House. I don't know, it's just a little crazy. I've always been very intrigued about that situation because I truly believe that she saw something. I think she saw something. I don't know about reptilians. Like, y'all have been asking me to get into reptilians so much. Like, I really don't know much about that topic, but at the very least, she saw something. Like, something within the spiritual realm, the veil was lifted for her for a second. I don't know. You cannot tell me that wasn't the case. And people are like, oh, she was intoxicated or she was on a substance. If she was on a substance, I honestly would believe her even more, because y'all know that the demonic realm uses substances to make you more spiritually unalert so that they can get a hold of you easily. Why do y'all think so many serial unalivers are always on substances or drinking? You know what I'm saying? Why do you guys think that people that just turn around and unalive their whole family, then unalive themselves, are on some kind of substance? Because it's a gateway between the realm. So honestly, if she was on something, I would believe her even more. I don't know, y'all. As always, make sure you like and follow. Comment down below what you think, because I'm really interested to hear what you have to say.
A woman suddenly lost consciousness while a fake doctor was performing an illegal laser treatment on her. And instead of taking her to the hospital, he shoved her body into a suitcase. He left this suitcase in his garage for weeks while her family and police searched for her. To hide the evidence, he buried her body in the garage and poured concrete over it. The remains were discovered nearly a year later, and the man was sent to prison.
When you fall asleep, your brain paralyzes your entire body. It's supposed to stop you from acting out your dreams, so you don't punch a wall or dive out of bed thinking you're flying. But sometimes the timing's off. Your brain wakes up, but forgets to turn your body back on. So you're trapped, fully conscious, but completely frozen. Your mind's still half dreaming, so it starts projecting things. Figures in the dark, pressure on your chest. It's called sleep paralysis. And when it happens, there's nothing you can do.
We have just got a look inside the $400 million jet that Qatar wants to give to Trump. The Boeing 747-8 will be the most expensive gift ever given to the US by a foreign entity in history. And now, thanks to an aircraft specification summary that was posted when the jet was on sale several years ago, we can now see that it is fitted with a massive 3 lounges, 2 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, 5 kitchens, and a private office. Its upper and lower deck is a staggering 4,500 square feet, which, if you think about it, is almost 4 times the size of an average 3-bedroom apartment in New York City. And normally a plane of this size would carry around 450 people, but of course with all the added luxury, it'll now only carry about 100. But problem is, this plane is, yes, luxury, but it's not presidential, meaning the US would still need to spend millions more to install the necessary security equipment, communications, and defense capabilities. Plus, accepting it could violate a clause in the Constitution which prohibits presidents from accepting foreign gifts. But Trump said that it's not for him, it's for the Defense Department, and that he would be, quote, a stupid person to not accept it. But what do you think? Should the US accept this plane or not?
I don't know. I feel like people just waste their time like complaining about the wrong thing. If bro wants to accept the gift, let him accept the gift. Who cares? At the end of the day, they're like, oh my God, he accepted a gift. As a president, you shouldn't accept a gift. But it's just like, who cares? There's people in the world that are dying. There's bigger problems. You know what I'm saying? All I'm just saying is I feel like accepting that is just like the least of the world's problems right now. Yeah, but these videos were hella interesting. The one that stood out to me was that girl that got SA'd and severely like almost decapitated, and she's still here, survived. That was the craziest story I've ever heard in like a long time. So that one's definitely gonna stick with me throughout the day. But if you guys enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making the video, remember to smash the like, smash the subscribe. YouTube would say you guys would love this video, so make sure to click it, watch it, and let me know what you guys think. Thank y'all for watching.